This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Nobody knows who the hell he is.
This is absolute tosh.
Above average temperatures are going to warm the country on Saturday, with highs of 79 Fahrenheit expected before the leftovers of Hurricane Humberto bring heavy rain and gale force winds next week. 79 degrees. That sounds fantastic. And you double it and add 32 to get feet. So double 79 is 162, and 162 plus 32 is 179. So the temperature tomorrow will be 179 feet. Can you believe that?
No.
Humberto, the Category 3 hurricane, is expected to cross the Atlantic this weekend, coming over here, making it rain. The tail end of the system expected to bring heavy rain and winds of around 50 miles an hour next week. A Met Office meteorologist Alex said it's fair to say that next week will taste very different to this week. Is that how they determine the weather? By licking it? He or she, or it, in fact, said that next week's going to be much cooler and cloudier. But it will taste delicious. We will start to see some places turning a little bit fresher. As in rude. Saturday night into Sunday is going to see a front bringing some showery rain. It could be heavy at times, but it shouldn't cause too many issues apart from making you wet. We're then going to have a brief respite in the weather to start on Monday morning before another system comes in from the west around about Monday lunchtime. So that's going to be very, very, very brief respite indeed. It's over. And it's all because of Hurricane Humberto, which we can agree is not only a terrible name for a hurricane, but also a person. Forecasters say Humberto will have been heavily modified by the time it hits Britain, losing much of its intensity after travelling across a cool ocean. And that is, in temperature, it's not like a really hip ocean. You know, not like...
Groovy.
Yeah, it's not that kind of an ocean. Would you like to know the long-range weather forecast?
No.
Sunshine and showers on Tuesday, heavy, perhaps thundery. The final week of September. It's the final week of September, pretty much, almost next week.
Oh, no.
Yeah. That will see showers and longer spells of rain become more dominant. Listeners in Glasgow won't notice the difference. So, in fact, I could check while you wait. Sunny tomorrow, 71 degrees, and then normal service is resumed. Wow. Look at that forecast. Okay, from Sunday is 66, and then all the way through that entire week, through the next weekend, and then into Thursday when it'll be 56. And it will be raining on the following days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Every blooming day. Why does it always rain on me? So, for the rest of us, sunshine and showers on Tuesday. The final week of September, showers and longer spells of rain will become dominant. Sunny spells are likely, though. And it will remain rather warm in the east. Thereafter, spells of rain and potential for gales, particularly in the west and the north, which is you, Glasgow. For the rest of the country, temperatures will be close to normal in the end of this month, but in any drier spells, days may be warmer than average. Warmer than average? We'll take it. Of course, the entire planet is warmer than average, but, that's just lefty loonies whining about stuff.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
So we must ignore them. Plus, it's a lot of young people who should be in school, learning trigonometry, whatever that is. Millions of people, including hundreds of thousands of school children, took to the streets in 150 countries. Well, that can't be true. There's no such thing as 150 countries. I'd say 60 tops. It's the largest climate protest in history. And they're all wasting their time. We've got a president, the leader of the free world, the man who we are desperate for a favour from, who is determined to destroy the environment, because his more popular predecessor wanted to save it. You remember his more popular predecessor, don't you? And the screaming Mimi wants to kill the environment because Obama made fun of him when he was in the audience at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2011. And Donny sat there, rocking back and forth, seething and vowing to get vengeance, like the whining, spoilt, thin-skinned baby that he is.
I am the most fabulous whiner. And I'm a whiner, and I keep whining and whining.
So they marched today, the global strike for climate change protesters. They were here, there and everywhere, baby. Australia, Indonesia, the Philippines, India, Bangladesh, Uganda, Kenya, Solomon Islands, Cyprus, Poland, Germany, and London, mate. And it's been largely inspired by that 16-year-old activist, Greta Thunberg, who began leaving school every Friday in order to protest climate change in a movement that's spread around the world. And we appreciate it, Greta.
Thank you.
And it spawned a million internet trolls who can't stand that someone younger and smarter than them is getting so many likes on social media while they toil night and day spewing bile and can only count a few followers who they call friends, but aren't. Oh, blooming young people. You know, those types. And they go on about her boat trip to New York and how it didn't achieve anything and how stupid she is to have done it, as though the pollution savings were the point of what was obviously a PR exercise, and a very effective one too. And the same people rant on news website comment sections about all the young people marching to save the planet that we're all standing on, typing in all caps about how they should throw away their phones if they're serious, and rip out their central heating and walk everywhere. As though just because they aren't solving the problem of climate change and pollution in one go, it's stupid to even try. As though because you don't get to your destination on the first step, that no journey is worth taking. And these demonstrators are demanding that world leaders take greater action to combat the effects of climate change. And each month sees new weather records broken. This year alone has seen the hottest month ever recorded on Earth. We've got record-breaking wildfires in Siberia, huge swathes of the Amazon burned, and the most powerful storm ever to make landfall hit the Bahamas. And in Britain, this summer was one of the hottest on record, but it was also one of the wettest in 100 years. And isn't that exactly what they said it was going to be? Hotter and wetter. You know, figures from the Met Office show the 3 months from June to August were the UK's 12th hottest summer on record. We had over 100 degrees. I think we had the hottest temperature ever recorded in this country, 101.6. And the top 10 hottest years are all in the last 17. 2014, 2006, 2011, 2007, 2017, 2003, 2018, 2004, 2002 and 2005. That's the top 10 hottest years ever, all in the last 17 years. Coincidence?
No.
Since 1884, all of the UK's 10 warmest years have occurred since 2002, whereas none of the 10 coldest years have occurred since 1963. And as for the rest of the world, July was the hottest month ever recorded, as in ever, ever, ever. But, you know, that's all lefty liberal talk. We lost. We should get over it. And Greta Thunberg has been nominated for a Nobel Prize for her climate activism, which is really going to frost Donny's bottom. That's really going to upset Jaffa the Hutt, because he wants a Nobel Prize more than he wants Saudi Arabians to block book rooms in his hotels again.
I make $400 million a year, so what difference does it make?
And hundreds of thousands of people led by school children took part in protests across the UK, calling for urgent action to tackle climate change. It used to be that parents were disappointed by their children's behaviour. Now it's the other way around. Children and students walked out of lessons and lectures and were joined by campaigners and workers as part of global climate strikes. And it could well be the largest environmental protests in history. They claim around 100,000 people took part in a rally in central London. More than 20,000 are thought to have marched in Edinburgh, 10,000 in Brighton as crowds. Well, it was Brighton. Crowds flocked to streets around the UK. Did you see the line of people in New York? Holy moly. Not even the musical Hamilton has a line that big outside. And Uncle Jezza was in the crowd in London. He said, you and a whole generation have brought the issue centre stage, and I'm absolutely delighted about that, he said. And he criticised the screaming Mimi in the White House for his failure to act on climate change. And he had a message for Brazil's president, Bolsonaro, that he wanted to work with him to preserve and protect the Amazon rainforest. I don't know why they're bothering. They're all completely wasting their time. The people who are in charge want to make money right now, at this moment. They're not remotely interested in what happens in 10 years. They don't care. They want to make their money now. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, said it's unbelievable that we should need a global strike action for the future of our planet to be taken seriously. And that's right. I mean, we all live here, don't we? It's not like we can weekend on another planet. The London Mayor said the stark reality is that our climate is changing rapidly and we're running out of time to address it. Running out of time? We're screwed then, I suppose. Unless you don't believe in science or aren't that bothered about what happens in 50 years because you won't be here then. Don't think of it as being selfish. Think of it as being pig-headed, if that helps. Muna, Friends of the Earth campaigner, said that most people wanted to fix the climate crisis, but politicians need to act. She said, right when we need our leaders to step up, they continue to let us down. as though we're not used to that already. And they will keep on letting us down until the vast majority of the electorate demand a change or they will withhold their vote. But weirdly, we're not really in a situation where people are judging the issue by science. They're judging it by whose gang they're in. About a third of the population have decided to identify with anything that the left are against, like being kind, being polite, being considerate of your environment, all of that stuff. Because they think that they're in an ideological war with anyone not on the right wing of any argument. And as they know that none of us really want to change our lives, just like we don't want to hang on to our rubbish until we find a bin, so we just drop it where we're standing. It's my right, I can do what I want. Because of all that, politicians will just play lip service to environmental protection, at best, and do nothing about it until it's too late. We're doomed.
Oh, fabulous.
Unless I've got any of that wrong, in which case you must correct me. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC.
With a new...
Is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Right, so what are we doing?
Gibbon, we're doing texts and tweets and emails. Scott says, oh God, Abbott's going to do his weather and wrong maths now. Well, it's got nothing to do with God. Don't bring her into it. I mean, if she didn't intervene during the Holocaust, she's not going to be remotely bothered about me getting my maths wrong. But I'll just take it that you don't like this and you don't like that and moan. This one says, no doubt you will have angry Brexiters ringing in with their toxic twaddle. Anybody ringing in with toxic twaddle?
Yes.
Thought so. Please, can you ask them how they feel about fracking? It's one of Uncle Nigel's favourite things. What, fracking and shouting and bulldogs and insults? Just a few of his favourite things. Ain't that right, Nigel?
I'm a nutcase.
0345 6060 973. Wigton, Warren.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Thank you. I love your show, and I think you do great work.
But
talk to me about CO2 and what it does and where it is.
Talk to you about CO2. Is that what you just said? Okay. What are your feelings about CO2?
No. Not about my opinion. Your opinion.
My opinion on CO2?
Where is it? what does it do in relation to climate change?
Why are you asking me this? What is this call about, Warren?
Because it's relevant, isn't it? CO2 is the issue now.
Is it? Well, it's an issue.
Right, so where is it? What does it do?
Where is it? Well, I'm pointing to some of it at the moment. There's some, and there's some over there. If only this was TV. And there's some over there. Oh, look, there's some CO2 over there.
Listen, it's about science. And
Oh,
CO2.
wow, science.
CO2,
Yeah, you should have said.
I'm limited in my education, but
Yeah.
I know what...
You amaze me.
I know CO2 is a heavy gas.
Heavy.
It flies low. It does not go up to the atmosphere. It doesn't.
So it's heavy gas, and it doesn't go up to the atmosphere.
That's correct.
Right.
And the theory is CO2 goes upstairs and traps the heat. I think that's climate change thing.
Yeah. Well, you certainly have researched this thoroughly.
No, I haven't. From a basic point of view, I know what CO2 does. It's a heavy gas.
It's heavy, yeah. As in...
It's why trees grow on Earth.
Yes.
Because they breathe in CO2.
Breathe it in and then...
And breathe out oxygen.
Yeah.
That's a basic fact.
Facts. Oh, we're not remotely interested in your so-called facts, Warren.
Yeah, but they are facts.
Oh. Well, no doubt. Well, if you say they are, then it makes it true.
That is true.
Yeah. So you're saying that the CO2 is too heavy to go upstairs to the atmosphere.
Yep.
And therefore...
Yeah, it's not... Therefore, it's not creating this... what they claim is trapping the Earth's heat.
Trapping the Earth's...
Can't it?
Oh, heat. Right.
Yeah, it can't do.
I thought you said... For a moment there, I thought you said trapping the Earth's feet, which would have made as much sense as anything else you've said so far.
No, I do like talking to you, but forgive my black country accent.
Oh, your accent's not a problem, Warren. It's what you're saying with that accent that is what I have an issue with.
Well, tell me I'm incorrect.
You're incorrect.
How?
How? In every possible way, Warren.
Tell me CO2 rises up. The only way CO2 goes into the atmosphere is by perhaps a volcanic eruption.
Yes.
And it soon drops
no doubt.
down again.
It's propelled up by force. Yeah, other than that, it's all around our feet.
It's a heavy gas. It doesn't exist up there.
Don't lie down because you may never get back up again.
You still haven't made a point.
Well, then we're just going to have to agree to be disappointed, Warren. Well, we certainly have got off to a great start, eh?
No.
This says, Save the Planet is just a political stunt. The real problem will be, once again, we get let down over Brexit, and all members of Parliament let us not leave the Europe. No, not climate change. No, it will be anarchy, ANERKY, like this country has never seen. Not an anarchy. Oh, no. Really? An anarchy like we've never seen in this country? No. He says, last week I was in Wales and I could get 18,000 Welsh walk now to London and riot. I wonder if that last caller wrote that. He's multitasking. And Anne in Barnet says, let's see what this one's like. I hope all the parents whose kids were protesting will stop driving their kids to school. Support with action, not just words. See, another one of those people. Oh, well, that one over there, he cooked his dinner, so he wants to get out of it. Use gas he did. And that one over there, he's got central heating. God, what is it with you people? Actually determined to prevent people from saving the planet that you're standing on. Because that would mean that the liberal lefties have won. The human race has lost its mind. Maybe we were always like this. It's just that with the revolution in communications technology, were unaware how, what's a polite way of saying stupid, we were. Happy Feet Westwood tweets. What? Happy Feet Westwood. Hi, matey. Ugh, God, that's a bad start. Hi, matey.
Oh, no.
He says, I watched East Midlands News today with coverage on the climate change protest from a school. Gavin Williamson was livid with the kids bunking off lessons and not understanding the Tory carbon neutral policy by 2050. The school looked empty. Well, maybe they just realised that Gavin Williamson was coming. Oh, I'll be so cross if they don't get back to school tomorrow, said Gavin Williamson. In my mind. It's only a couple of minutes ago. I'll save some of these calls for after the news because they may be as scintillating as the one that I've already had. So I want to give them maximum time. So I'll just read a couple more of these and then we'll go and get the new news. Bob at emails, why do carbon dioxide bubbles in fizzy drinks bubble up if they're so heavy? Well, you say that now. Where were you when he was on? You see, that's science. That's Coca-Cola. Interesting, by the way, that manufacturers of fizzy drinks have reduced the sugar content of those drinks by about a third, by some reckonings, since there was a sugar tax. And yet the food manufacturers have done nothing at all about the sugar content of food because there was no tax in it. It was voluntary. And they said, oh, voluntary. Oh, well, in that case, no. You've got to tax, but you've got to make it hurt before they do anything. Like it's exactly the same as people whining about the speed cameras on motorways now. Smart motorways. God, if only one of those motorways would call in, would make a better caller. And they're complaining that these smart motorway speed cameras are making hundreds of thousands of pounds by dopes who drive through at 100 miles an hour. Because it's their right, they can do what they want. And then they're stunned when they get a speeding fine. Well, here's a good idea. Don't speed. But that would be, restricting their right to do anything they bloomin' well like. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 10:30. The news headlines with Zora Sullivan.
Thousands of Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
Ed says, where did Warren get his PhD? That's the caller I was speaking to some moments ago. If he doesn't have one, he needs to listen to the consensus from scientists on global warming. People with low levels of education do not seem to understand experts. Low levels of education.
I love the poorly educated.
Yeah, and then you get that. Chris says, can't Gavin Williamson tell climate change to go away? Just shut up and go away. That'd sort it, says Chris. Quite right. Gravesend. Hello, Maria.
Hello.
Maria.
I'm not particularly clever, but
well,
is this something that really...
You fit right in on this show with me. That's absolutely true.
I know. There's stuff I've seen and heard lately, which really makes me concerned. I'm all for climate change, people doing this and doing that. But I've seen some things recently on TV about there's places in the world where they've got these like grass things or stations. There's one in, where is it? Near Poland, Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
They're all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do, they emit stuff to try and change the weather.
They emit stuff?
Yeah, like
Stuff?
waves.
Waves?
they emit waves to change the weather.
Oh, yeah. Where did you see this? Panorama?
It was, yesterday I saw it on TV, and it really upset me. But
I can imagine. So there's stations emitting waves to change the weather.
Yeah. And
waves of what, Maria?
Radio waves and stuff
radio
like that.
Waves, right.
Yeah.
From a point at sea to the circles of your mind.
Well, no, it's not that. It's because everything is energy. So if they can... Well, apparently, we've got energy in our brains. Like, it all works the same, apparently. This is only what I've seen on TV.
Well, my experience, Maria, is that...
Listen, don't laugh at me, please.
I blooming well will. My experience is that people's brain energy does not always work the same as other people's. Some people are unique, Maria. I bet you are.
Probably.
Yes, we do. Oh, I was enjoying that as well. Oh, never mind. Oh, well, Maria, better luck next time. We're running a delay here. She just forgot that she was on the air. She described herself in earthy terms. But, I actually wanted to hear the rest of that, but I had to dump it because apparently you have to maintain content that is appropriate for children at all times, even on a blooming adult radio station at 10:30 in the evening. When if you were watching television, it would be they would insist on words that she just used, and worse. They're even effing and blinding on the news at 10. Here's the bleeping news. Shut up. Sit down. Chris says, I read that. Peter says, climate change is a fraud, Nick. You seem to be as gullible as the extremists. I think you believe anything someone tells you, you poor, poor man, says Peter, who read that climate change is a fraud on the internet. That is very worrying, by the way, that there are stations emitting waves to change the weather. I had no idea. Oh, my God. What's that? Is that you printing
Spookily,
something?
It's not me.
It isn't you. It's not you. Well, who's printing something in here then?
It's definitely not me.
Is that? Am I being picky? But we've got the world's loudest printing machine in a studio. The things I have to put up with. Steve says, maybe if that Greta Thunberg hadn't spent so much time bunking off school, she'd know as much about CO2 as Warren. Yeah, well, what we've learned so far is that CO2 is heavy and can't go upstairs to the atmosphere, and therefore trees breathe more easily, or something like that. And it has nothing to do with the climate change, which is a hoax, because somebody read it. Climate change is a fraud. You seem to be as gullible as the extremists. Is it being an extremist to want to prevent catastrophe happening to the planet that you're sitting on? Is that really what we call extremism these days? You see what I mean? People have... it's not the issue that's that's central to people's reaction to this. It's that leftists are concerned about the environment. Therefore, rightists don't give a damn about it, and in fact insist that anybody who is concerned is an idiot. And they're not remotely interested in taking on board any information. Information just will befuddle you. That just muddles the argument. Information. So they're information vacuums. They don't need no information. They don't need no thought control. So whatever a leftist says, whatever somebody with a beard or who isn't wearing a tie or didn't go to Eton or isn't in finance, whatever they say, then the opposite of that, said the rightists. It's just amazing what's happening these days. It's just beyond belief to me. I just don't recognise the human race anymore. I mean, I don't recognise the human race anymore because of, our size, but also the way we think. Taxation is theft, tweets. You can't be serious. Taxation is theft. Oh, for crying out loud. He says, or she, or it, says, is your last caller mistaking carbon dioxide for carbon monoxide? CO is heavier than air. CO2 is part of air. Well, don't get us bogged down in details. And Andrew in Chelsea says, what do you think of the virtue signalling pretty boy nepotism recipient Justin Blackface Trudeau? I think very little of it, actually. I think this idea that the right wing are piling on top of him because he is left wing and they did something that they would firmly agree of and would defend if one of their own did it. Like if one of the Brexit party or UKIP or the right wing of the Tory party, I mean, do you really think that they've grown to this ripe old age without doing anything like dressing up in blackface? I mean, blooming the nation's sweetheart, Hazza, out of Hazza and Sparkles, showed up at a party dressed as a Nazi. But that's perfectly all right, and it's a grossest impertinence to suggest otherwise. We used to have a thing called the black and white minstrel show on this in this country. In living memory, it was tip-top Saturday night entertainment. It was pretty much the only thing that was on TV when it was on, being as how we only had 3 channels. But, don't judge us by what we've done. Judge us by the position that we take based on whether it's for or against a leftist. Let's have Catford. Oh, Steve. That did not work. I'll try it again. Catford. Steve. Nope. Do you want to try that? Catford. Yes. Steve. Yes.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the black and white minstrel you've just mentioned.
Yeah.
Good Lord, did that really happen?
I mean, yes.
It did, didn't it? It was awful. Even when I was quite young when that was about. Much
of amusement TV was awful in those days. I mean,
yeah.
The sitcoms were really shockingly bad, and the only thing that was better were educational programs or programs that had some sort of point. Like Panorama used to be a very serious hour-long program which would feature mostly close-ups of talking heads yakking on about detail. Now it's one bloke was waving his arms around while riding a bike towards camera as music plays in the background.
Yes.
Like he's in a blooming pop video. And it lasts half an hour, not an hour, because nobody's got the patience anymore.
Yeah. Well, I was going to make a fatuous, I've realised it is fatuous, an analogy. In the 70s and 80s, I went on just about every march. There seemed to be a march every week. Rock Against Racism or C&D. I went on the massive Greenham March, and I genuinely, in my youth, I genuinely thought it would happen. That something would change.
Oh, change. Mm.
But it didn't. I mean, we still.
Well, now that's not true. Things have changed. We've gone, a long way since then. Things that used to be that used to outrage society don't anymore.
No, but I mean, the analogy I was going to make and I perfectly agree with all these young people coming out of school. I love it. It's a fantastic. It's a fantastic thing. I just wonder whether it will make any difference at all. Whether the politicians, that's the problem, in China, in India, in Brazil, in the United States, will look at this and say,
Well, that's very much dependent on us lot. Because if we withhold our vote from those people, then they will change their tune, most certainly. If we fire them by voting for somebody else, somebody who is espousing, the right line as far as we're concerned on this, then something will be done. But it's down to us, as is pretty much everything else. Everything that ails the world is down to us, the consumer, pretty much.
Really? Do you think so? I mean, we haven't got rid of nuclear weapons. They're still there. That racism is still there.
Yeah, well, racism is definitely down to us. I mean, have they kicked racism out of football yet? You might as well try kicking stupidity out of football.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. We've got a 72-year-old man. Is he 72, 73?
Who?
In the White House.
Oh.
We've got.
Age don't matter. It's age is not
it's
determinant of how you think about the issues.
No, it isn't. You're quite right. Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders, yeah. I mean, he's about 150, isn't he? But he doesn't think like it.
No. I don't know how. See, I'm worried that the politics we've got at the moment just aren't going to listen to these young people.
Well, unless the young people go out and vote in large enough numbers to make them listen, or to turf out the ones that refuse to countenance listening.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So we've all got to register to vote.
That must be by accident, because I'm just throwing out random syllables here, and eventually, if you just keep spouting, eventually you'll get something right.
Yes.
Great result.
I haven't once mentioned Steely Dan either. I haven't even mentioned them. So.
Okay, well, I think we got away without it this week and this week only. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Steve. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you can't get a thrill, it's 0845 something. What is it? If I don't do it all in the same breath, I forget what it is. nicka@lbc.co.uk, or whichever one it is that I forgot. You fill in the blanks.
Here on LBC, Majid Noah Abbott. On LBC, call 0345 6060 973.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
I know that there's stations in the Antarctic that are emitting waves that are changing the weather. Lucas says, hypocrites talking about climate change while printing stuff, destroying our trees. Well, those trees had it coming. Jim says that printer was set off by sound waves from Alaska. That lady is getting you back. And Mark says, this film says it all. The Day the Earth Caught Fire, 1961. Isn't that the one with a very, very brief appearance of Sean Connery as a policeman right at the end, directing somebody in a car? Or am I thinking of another film entirely? Or have I just made it up? Any of the above is possible. Chesterfield, Kate. Oh, Kate, is there anybody out there? Too late. Sharon Hanwell.
Hello.
Sharon.
Yes.
Yes, Sharon.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very, very confused by all your callers.
You are? Imagine how I feel.
Yes. I know. So, for one, the weather.
Yeah.
2, Brexit. And 3, what time are we going to bed?
Are you enumerating the things that you've called in about?
Yeah.
This is like preview. Okay. Number 1.
Number 1.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so your callers have not been very well.
They've not been very well.
They've not been very well.
As in, sick in the head. Yeah, well, I agree.
They don't explain themselves.
No. Well, thank goodness. In most cases. Yeah, quite right.
And, well, quite right, I do. And, so there doesn't seem to be any yes or no answers. Everyone just seems to go, oh, we don't know what we're doing. Oh.
Well, I'm not sure that people are saying that. I think people are quite certain that they do know what's going on because they read it on the internet. Yeah.
See, the internet is a different thing. Back in my day, we didn't have internet. We just had to speak because we signed.
Oh, blimey. Can you imagine that? Speaking to human beings.
45.
Ugh. Why speak to a real human being when you could sit at home on your own in your room typing?
Exactly. I miss the days where you could just phone up and go, hello, what's your name? And now you have to press 1 for this, 2 for that, 3 for a robot.
Press 4 if you'd like to be put on hold for 5 minutes and then cut off for no reason.
I've been on hold for like 25 minutes.
What?
But at least I know I'm going to be speaking to a human when I get off the phone.
Yeah. A human being.
Affirmative.
Yes.
Well, I class you as a human being.
Well, that's nice. Thanks, Sharon. I class you as a human being too.
Thank you very much.
Unless you are a robot.
Oh, I could be a robot. No, I'm not a robot. I need batteries.
Press 1 if you are a robot.
Duracell. Good luck to you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks a lot,
amazing.
Sharon. Good luck to me. Oh, that sounds like a threat. What does that mean? Java says, why on earth is there a printer in the studio? Well, it's got nothing to do with me. This studio was like that when I got here. This says, even though you talk rubbish... Well, that's not nice.
Be polite.
Even though you talk rubbish and are so far left that you can't see your right hand, I find you so amusing. I just can't turn the radio off. One more thing, climate change is real, but the main cause is not humans, it's cows. It isn't cows. The only reason that there's so many cows is human beings. I mean, you'd really think that cows would fashion the life that they've got if it weren't for us. I mean, they'd all get killed for a start with all of the bigger predators that we have killed because we don't like them taking our cow. They come over here, they take our cows, so we executed them all. Anything that's big enough to take a cow, we killed. And, I mean, what do cows actually do? I mean, if they were in the wild, what would they do? They couldn't run from anything because they're too gigantically fat. All they do is eat all blooming day. What a life, eh? They eat all day, continuously, and then poop. And stand in it. Simon in Catford says, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't eat beef anymore. Any animal that poops and then stands in it, not that bright. There's something very surreal about a cow as well. Very suspicious. I mean, can you think of any other animal that would be appropriate for the cover of a Pink Floyd album, not including a flying pig? This says, I think it's Michael Caine that makes a brief appearance directing traffic in The Day the Earth Caught Fire. Was it Michael Caine? I'm trying really hard not to say, not a lot of people know that, but I failed. Damn it! Mars says Michael Caine had a bit part in that movie. Well, which was the film that Sean Connery appeared in very, very briefly? It must have been right. It must have been the first film he was ever in. Answers, I bet the internet knows. Let's have a call in... What time is it? Ooh, blimey, it's getting a bit late, isn't it? Doesn't time fly when you're out of your mind? Tulse Hill. Hello, Dee.
Hello, Nick. Good
Dee.
evening.
Good evening.
I'm very pleasant to speak with you.
Pleasant?
Yeah, I listen to you all the time. So I'm quite pleased, actually.
Oh, thanks, Dee.
Yeah. Lovely show, as always. Anyway, I'll make it quick because I know you're coming up to the news. About this climate change business, yeah? I know that there is climate change going on.
Do you?
And I've heard, well, I do know, And when I was in school, I was taking my A-levels in 1979.
Yeah.
And I had a teacher, I took geography, and my teacher taught us about climate change.
Your phone cracked up a bit there, Dee. So I'll fill in the blanks.
Sorry.
Your teacher told you about climate change. Is that what you said?
Yes, we were taught about
in 1970 when? 1979.
Yes, I was still a youngster. But anyway,
well, like when I was at school, and this is something that the disbelievers hark on about. Weren't we told that we were coming up to a new ice age?
Well, my teacher didn't tell me that bit.
I'm pretty sure that back in 79, people weren't talking about the Earth heating up.
He actually said it. I don't know why I remember, but I do remember. He said the hot countries are going to get hotter and the colder countries are going to get warmer. And that's exactly what we're experiencing now. A few days ago, I think it was on one of the news channels, one of their headline pieces said, climate change is going to be taught in schools for the first time in the UK. I had to tweet immediately and say, I firmly disagree. And I told them. Anyway, my lovely daughter, my 16-year-old, she goes out on these marches as well, and she's all for saving the planet.
Right. Well, I blame the parents, Dee.
I know. Let's just blame them. Anyway, it's been lovely speaking with you.
And you, Dee. All right.
Have I timed it right?
Almost perfectly. Yes. Would you like a show?
Yes, please.
We'll stick you on. We'll stick you on at the weekend. If I can do one, then you can do one too. Anybody can do this if I can. It's just talking. 0345 6060 973. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
I'd like to punch him in the face. He's a great guy. He's a good guy. He's a good person.
Thanks, Donnie. You're the best. So his defence is breaking the law is not a crime. That's fake news. Simon Marks tweets, Nick, our very own radio station, LBC, aired an hour-long documentary on November the 17th, 1980, called Our Changing Climate, all about global warming. I've got a tape of it, and we'll try to stick it online. This says, yeah, well, do it. But always ask permission first. No, undo that last one, 'cause I haven't read that one yet. You're way ahead of me. This says, even though... Oh, no, I have read that. You were quite right. Completely correct in every respect.
Fair enough.
Graham in Rochester says, Sean Connery, Zardoz. He was in that movie, but not that briefly, but brief enough. He still sounded Scottish, though, like he does in all his movies, despite where his character comes from. Yeah, yes. Actually, he sounded a bit like Roger Scott, because Roger Scott used to do his, which is why all DJs for at least 10 years all sounded like this on the radio. Yes. Chris says the problem with this country is the internet. The problem with this country is the internet, and especially smartphones, he says. Prior to the introduction of these devices, this country was a good, content, happy place, but it's now become divided, hate-filled, joyless. I don't know. Is that true? I think it's always been this way. I mean, we haven't just got this way over the last 10 years or so, and we certainly haven't got this way since the B word came up. We've always been like this. That's why that campaign to kick racism out of football is well meant, but has had zero success so far. Because you might as well try to kick stupidity out of football, like I said, or kick people out of football. That's just who we are. And this thin veneer of civilization that we coat ourselves with, we've shellacked ourselves with it, just rubs off really easy, very quickly. Years to paint on, moments to wear off. Tunbridge Wells, hello, Steve.
Hello, Nick. Good evening. How
Steve.
are you?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, brilliant show. So thanks very much for getting the chance to talk to you.
Oh, thanks.
I think you've given cows a bit of a hard time earlier. I mean, poor old cows. I thought it was really interesting. I was watching the protests today on the news, and there is such a parallel with the sort of division we got in the country at the minute, and actually be able to sort of something to unite us. You know, I don't know if you're a Game of Thrones fan, but
yes.
like, you know, we've all been fighting amongst ourselves, and meanwhile, you know, this is all going on in the background, and it's kind of being ignored. So
winter is coming, and the
exactly
blue-eyed, white-skinned people. Yeah,
and you know, it's just. Yeah, there's so much identity politics and division. And you meet people in the flesh, and they're you know, I'm a great believer in human beings and how good they are.
You? I've met some. I'm not that keen. I mean,
you really?
Yeah, really. You know, they just rub me up the wrong way, by and large.
I know. But you've got to have faith in the human race, you know, and we can work our way out of this. I'm quite an optimist, but you know, it's you know, slavishly followed the Brexit debate all the way through for the last few years, and it's just so depressing and demoralising. We end up more and more polarised.
Well, yeah, I think the Brexit debate has given people licence or cause to become polarised on not just that, but every issue. It's almost as though if you believe in, if you are a Ramona, you're also about saving the planet through mitigating the effects of global warming, and you're into human rights and all of that stuff. And if you're a leaver, then you define yourself by hating everything that a Ramona would like, and so you're against human rights. You know, assuming that it doesn't actually affect you personally, other people's human rights. You're not remotely interested in them. It's just shut up and sit down. And you're not interested about saving the planet because the science doesn't prove it. And there's one bloke who wrote an article on the internet once that suggests that there ain't no such thing, or a scientist got something wrong once, so we can dismiss the opinions of all scientists forevermore. But people just define themselves by either you're on the left on everything or you're on the right on everything, regardless of the subject at hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got to find bridges. We've got to find ways of uniting us and finding things that we can all wrap around.
I don't know. Wouldn't it be better if we just built walls and all the the left can live on one side and the right could live on the other, and then we'll come back in 10 years and we'll see who's happier.
Well, we perhaps could unite the world through, I don't know, beer or something. But certainly, I'm so proud of all these young people across the world. They've got a point, and it is listened to. And it is young people who are going to be voters at the end of the day, as you've made the point several times tonight. You know, that people will listen to them, and I cannot think this is pretty unprecedented, the scale of this today.
Yeah, huge.
Really.
Did you see the pictures from New York? I mean, it pretty much it looked like it went from one end of New York to the other, like long ways. It was immense, that crowd.
Just incredible. And to be united under one cause across the world, it does give me a little bit of hope in these sort of strange times that we're going through at the minute.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I do think you should give the cows a break though, because they're cute.
Okay.
And you know,
and so tasty. Don't forget about the tasty part.
Yeah, no. We're going pretty much plant-based here.
Really? Well, so are cows. So in effect, if you eat cows, that does make you a vegetarian. I think that's an actual fact. Yeah. All right. Good work. Thanks a lot, Steve. 0345 6060 973. David in Crouch End says, Sean Connery's first appearance on screen was an uncredited blink and you'll miss him part in a 1954 Anna Neagle Errol Flynn film called Lilacs in the Spring. Wow, that sounds terrible. Lilacs? Does anybody want to go see a film with lilacs in the title?
No.
Of course not. He says the late Stephen Boyd also has an uncredited role in that film too. His first talking role, his? Sean Connery or Stephen Boyd? Because I've got no idea who Stephen Boyd is. I'm just demonstrating my ignorance. Who's Stephen Boyd?
I'm currently looking it up.
Oh, we're looking it up. The internet knows. The late Stephen Boyd also... I didn't even know he was ill. He has an uncredited role in that film too. His first talking role was in a 1957 film, a B film called No Way Out. His biggest role prior to becoming James Bond was a 1961 film about London gangsters called The Frightened City that was recently shown on Talking Pictures TV channel, also starring the late John Gregson, also somebody I've never heard of. Stephen Boyd was a Northern Irish-American actor, originally from Glengormley, County Antrim. R. He appeared in 60 films, most notably as a villainous Messala in Ben-Hur. Who? Ben-Hur. That's Benher. A role that earned him the Globe, blah, 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 and so on. Nobody cares. 0345 606. But good work looking it up, though.
Thank you.
But nobody cares. Liverpool. Let's have Kevin.
Oh, well, good evening. About the cattle, the bovine,
cows.
The thing about them is, it's the British cows now. That's what they're looking at all over the world, because you know that we're going to breed from our cows because you have less flatulence. There's that many different things about what's going on. And you're right, I'm not long just tuned in, and I heard a couple of things. One of the major problems with the Earth suffering now is the glacial rebound and the permafrost. The glacial rebound is now, what's happening is Scotland is rising, and as you come further south, it's dropping. And that is because when the glacier was there, what actually happens, if you look at the Earth, it's not a perfect sphere. It's more like an orange. And now it's correcting itself and coming out. You know, the actual from the...
So let me see if I've got this straight. Scotland is rising and England is falling. We're like a seesaw.
No, it's because it's from when the glacier was on top of this on Britain. So they predict that they actually estimate that it was about 3 to 2 miles the ice swap was on this.
So it was pushing the land down, and now it's bouncing back up again.
Yes, it's progressively going on for a long time, and the thing about climate change and global warming was first predicted by scientists in 1859.
Right, but what's that whole Scotland rising, and what's all that about?
Well, that's down to what we call the glacial rebound. We know that London. Well, one of the French are concerned because they've noticed the bore. You know, as it comes up the Seine and it goes to Paris, it's getting bigger and bigger, and we know this is what's going to happen. We've got in the Himalayas, the ice and everything's going. We are now looking at it. We now know what's going to happen. There's going to be a mass migration again. These things they occur throughout history, and that's what's happening. And there's that much going on. I mean, in the 1970s, I remember I used to work on Radio Caroline Roadshow. I remember coming back to Liverpool, and they'd actually written ozone in spray paint, ozone layers rule. We've known about this for so long. It's and people are just hiding it. They don't want to recognise what's going on. You get the scientists on and you start talking about things like this, and it's a fact. This is what we know. These things happen.
Well, you should have said that right at the beginning of this. Fact. Well, nobody's interested in facts anymore, Kevin. We're all about feelings now. But thanks for the detail, mate. So Scotland is rising and England is falling. Huh. You'll need a ladder to get up there pretty soon. It's the iceberg rebound or the glacial rebound or something like that. I've got no idea. But that sounds very, very serious. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Oh, what a good time to remind you about my podcast while we're all still alive. It's all about electricity this week. And none of it created by wind.
I know a lot about wind.
But electricity in all forms. It's a very electrical podcast this week. And you'll find that a brand new one comes out at noon on Mondays, and the website is absolutely chock full of them. If you've got half an hour and you wish to be amused, then it'll be right up your alley. It's the best of this show. My favourite calls from this, not this particular one, but all the programmes that I do, and they get mashed up into a half an hour bite-sized piece and then squirted out up the internet. And if that sounds like something you wish to avail yourself of, then it is available for nothing and, furthermore, free. Get our app. Global Player is available from your app store. If you go down to the podcasts section and do a search on my name, two things will come up. One is the whole show, which is like 2.5 hours without the adverts, but you don't want that because it takes too long. You want the bit that's just the podcast. It's called the Nick Abbot Habit. A half an hour of concentrated amusement. I think you'll love it. Ask for it by name, the Nick Abbot Habit.
Follow Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
This guy is sick. There's something wrong with this guy.
Pete says, yes, I also was taught at school to soon expect another ice age. That was in the mid to late 1970s. Yeah, I do recall that. Plus, they told us that we were going to be able to extract enough power from a small piece of paper to run cities. How's that worked out, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Maria in London says, what a load of old tosh. Well.
This is absolute tosh.
She says, I'm a Brexiter on the left and believe in human rights, etc. Don't stereotype all Leavers. Well, I am stereotyping, but that's the nature of stereotyping. It's a generalisation. It doesn't mean every Leaver all thinks the same. It's I'm being general. It's a stereotype. It's a simplistic generalisation, which I think you'll also find is true. Peter in Barking says, how many of the thousands of schoolchildren that protested... I bet this is... I haven't read the rest of it, but I bet this is one of those things that... Oh, well, they go to school in cars, don't they? Yes, and they watch television, and that's got electricity. How do they get that, then? Yes, and I bet they went on holiday once on a plane. Yes. So let's find out, shall we? Peter in Barking says... How many of the thousands of schoolchildren that protested today are driven to school every day by their parents in their SUVs? All seems very hypocritical, says Peter in Barking, who would prefer that nobody did anything at all if it takes a while. No journey is worth taking if you do not achieve your destination on your first step. And this says, let's kick footballs out of football. Sorted. Yeah, you're not going to kick racism out of football. You're not going to kick homophobia out of football or any of those other obias and icks out of football until you kick them out of the human race. It's just not going to happen. You can wear a blooming badge until you're blue in the face. I know that doesn't make any sense, but wearing badges doesn't make you blue unless they're very, very heavy. But you can, and it won't make the slightest bit of difference. Not really. Well, the lad's done great, and the manager's done great, and the fans have done great, and it's all credit to the manager and the lads and the fans. Harrow. Hello, Dave.
Hi, Nick. I just wanted to pick up on a couple of points your previous callers made. The one couple of goes ago said that, he had hope for the human race.
Yeah.
That, he was kind of keeping an optimistic viewpoint, but I think tradition, like you said, what was that one of your catchphrases? History tells us we don't learn anything by history. And
nobody ever learns anything from history, apart from that nobody ever learns anything from history.
Yeah, and I just think if you look back in history, like airships, liners, they all had to have the massive catastrophe before they said, actually, this isn't going to work. They had to have liners like the Titanic go out without any lifeboats before one had to sink, and about nearly 2,000 people had to perish. And the other guy was saying that he thinks that people bury their heads in their sand or something to that effect. And I think people are just going. I just don't think they get it. I don't know if it's just they talk about education. I mean, I didn't have a bad education, but I didn't have an amazing one,
But I don't think education has got anything to do with it. I think that people just ally themselves with one side or the other, and if you are a right-wing person, then you don't, then you affect not to believe science on this particular issue. Whereas if you had a problem with your back, you got lumbago or something like that, you would prostrate yourself in front of science by going to your doctor and doing whatever he or she, sexist or it, says.
But I just think they think they're going to be okay. I don't know if it's quite a left-right wing problem. I think it might be, but I just think there's a lot of people who are just going around with their heads in their sand, and they don't understand the science of it. I mean, to me, every day I go out and I see people chucking around in their cars, belching out fumes. They're basically humping about a ton of metal. And every one of those engines is like a megawatt heater. It's like 1,000 or 100 bar fires out in the open. You know, multiply that by 1 million, multiply it by 500 million, you know, and apparently there's no connection between human activity and the environment.
We have got to get off fossil fuels, and this fracking thing is just an intermediate technology between oil and coal and wind and the sun. Clean, renewable energy. But of course, certain individuals say that they don't want clean, renewable energy. We want clean coal, as though there is such a thing.
Well, this is the other thing, you know, that I think that there has to be, I mean, I would say with these protests, I just fear they're just going to be a blip, and everything's going to be, the climate ain't going to forget, even if we are. They think, well, we've done the bit, you know, like the Iraq war, you know, the march against the Iraq war, where we've done our bit, you know, well, hats off to you, mate, but, you know, whoever that is who's done the march today, but it ain't going to change anything.
Well, you know what? You know, the only thing that will actually change something is if we, the consumer, make that change. We can solve everything that is currently at fault with the world. We can solve through our choices of what we buy and who we buy it from. That's just true. And but we choose not to. We know that certain companies are destroying the high street. They're gutting the centre of our towns, and they're draining money from our economy and giving nothing back but the brief pleasure of saving 10 pence on buying something that we don't need, that we purchase with money that we haven't got. That little brief a shot of happy drugs that squirts around our brain when we buy something, and for that tiny little amusement, we're ruining towns, and the money is draining out of our economy that we can't spend on the NHS and the police and the roads and all the other important things in people's lives. It just sits in the bank account of somebody who's so blooming rich. His hobby is space rockets. And we could bring him down in, let's say, a month. We could destroy his entire company. We could wipe it out of existence if we just stop buying from it. But we won't, even though we know it's actually bad for us.
Totally agree. I mean, this is it. People need to remember that actually, unfortunately, you might like to think the government, you know, are responsible. And there's certainly places, like somebody was telling me that in Singapore, the government absolutely cane cars, you know, with tax to stop them. So I said, goodness me, so many people there, the pollution must be horrendous. And they were saying, well, no, it's not actually, because not many people can afford. I mean, it's prohibitively expensive, not like here where you just make a little sort of toll, you know, and try and make it out like you're doing something. But at the end of the day, people have the power. They might not think it. You know, unfortunately, so many other aspirations or needs of status needs that have to seem to look good in the 4x4 where you're actually being
absolutely ridiculous. I mean, pretty much the only thing that's getting bigger apart from TV screens is cars. Everything else is getting smaller. I mean, a computer that used to take up an entire room is now you can fit it in your pocket. Everything's getting smaller apart from cars, which are so stupidly big nowadays. It's ridiculous. The amount of pickup trucks that I see on Britain's tiny, windy roads now, that American phenomenon, the pickup truck. Nobody ever uses a pickup truck for what its intended purpose is in this country. There's never anything in the back of those pickup trucks. There's no old engines, and there's no bits of car, and there's no farming machinery or any of the stuff that a pickup truck is for. They're shiny and clean, and nothing has ever been in there apart from a Waitrose carrier bag. And yet they're everywhere, the size of a tank. Anyway, Dave, I've got to go. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. But, we can affect change. Pretty much everything that's wrong with the world is down to us, the consumer, and we can solve the plastics problem. I've said this before. If you just went to the checkout at the supermarket and you took all of your stuff out of its unnecessary plastic packaging and just left it at the tills in a big pile, and if we all did it, they'd change their packaging criteria in about 1 week. If we cut the fruit out of those infernal nets and left them at the checkout, they'd stop putting them in them. But we don't, because we can't be bothered. And so this is what we get. the ruination of this once great nation. Let's make Britain great again. 0345. Somebody should put that on a T-shirt or a cap. 0345 6060 973. Hey, look at the time. Is it really 11:30 already? The news headlines.
Nick Abbot on LBC.
A young, vibrant man.
Thanks, Donny. You're the best. This says, it's all in capitals, just so you know. I am famous scientist and also right-wing, but don't want to reveal my identity. So what you say to that, spelt THATT. Well, famous scientist, I say you're an idiot, is what I say to that. Bloomsbury. Hello, Larry.
Oh, hello, Nick. How are you? Good
Great,
evening.
mate. Super duper. Thanks for asking.
Just calling to share some Sean Connery trivia with you to add to what you've been given this evening.
Okay.
I saw this film at the BFI. It was a fantastic film with an all-star cast, an incredible lineup. Jill Ireland, David McCallum, Patrick McGowan, Herbert Baum, Peggy Cummings. And you know, when you see a film I saw this at the BFI, and when you see a film there, they'll give you information about the film. And they had said that it was his first speaking role, which that information would be in direct contradiction to information that was shared with you with a listener via email.
Right, well, I believe the BFI. What was the name of this film?
Hell Drivers from 1957. But needless to say, it was one of his first appearances on film, and one of his first speaking roles, and it was a sensational film. And actually, I was given sort of a history lesson in regards to this film. Herbert Baum, his character, his name was Gino Rossi, and he played an Italian prisoner of war who, after the war, didn't leave England. He loved Britain so much he decided to stay. And I spoke to someone about.
Well, don't tell us the plot.
Okay. But I had asked someone. I said, "Were there prisoner of war camps here in England during the war?" And this person I spoke to said, "Yes, absolutely." And that never dawned upon me that would be the case.
Yeah.
So, and then you realize, well, of course. I mean, why wouldn't there be? But it's a great film, and I highly recommend it.
And what was the name of that film again?
Hell Drivers.
Hell Drivers. Wow, that sounds like the M25. Hell Drivers.
Yes.
In front of you, beside you, and in your rearview mirror. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Larry. 0345 6060 973. What is it about the M25 that to people who are driving on it, they just seem to lose their minds? You can't go any distance on the M25 without those signs above you flashing 40 or 30 or the big red X coming on. This lane closed, that lane closed, entire motorway closed for your convenience. Again! Patrick in Guildford says, saving the planet by planting trees at this stage of the game is as asinine as peeing in the wind, Nick. Well, it depends which way the wind's going. Doesn't it? Don't pee against the wind. I think you'll find that is completely correct. That's what they mean by a yellow weather warning. He says, let's be honest, and with the time this planet has left, I struggle to see how a few 100 acres of sad little leaves stuck on 4-inch shoots can really be much of a game changer, says Patrick in Guildford. Well, cheer up, mate. It might never Oh, no, that's right. It already has. Mick says, children are very irritating. Well, you got that right. That is absolutely true. Children are irritating. Here, parents, the only people who think your children are charming and lovely are you. Everybody else thinks they're whining bags of snot. He says, children are very irritating. It doesn't matter if they're doing something constructive, they are irritating. Adults, he says, are also very irritating, but I find children slightly more irritating. Well, you can't pick a hole in that, really. That is accurate. And he says, let's kick footballers out of football and have artificial intelligence players instead. Well, that's not a bad idea. Or let's kick British footballers out of football, and because the foreign ones speak English better than they do. Oh, it was a great result, and it was a tough match, and it's all credit to the lads. We're working hard for the manager and the fans. Let's have Wembley. Christoph.
You keep saying Wembley whenever I phone you, Nick, and it's Wembley Park.
Wembley Park?
Yeah.
Well, that sounds...
I'll let that one...
That sounds...
I'll let that one go this time round.
Like it's in Wembley.
Yes, it is. Oh, dear. I've had to concede a point already.
Right.
So, Nick, just a couple of things. I mean, I was in the car when I heard some of your programme being driven, and it's actually lovely to sit in a big car. I have to say, I say it with.
Are you trying to impress us with your chauffeured limousine?
It's not a limousine, and I can't drive. So
a bus. You're on a bus.
And I want to say, I think I also heard you mention something about presenting just being about talking.
Yeah, it's just talking. It's easy. Anyone can do it.
Well, the thing is, I just have a feeling that if I were to have a spot on LBC between 10 and 1 on Friday, the listeners would leave LBC in their droves. Instead of which, because no one can talk quite the way you talk.
Well, not with this accent, anyway. Well, I mean, where does this accent actually come from?
Smog impressions.
Yes, well, yes, that is tough. It's tough on the throat.
But I do want to just say a few things about the timing of climate change and ice ages. I mean, our fantastic British scientist, Professor Jim Lovelock, who was the one who discovered the ozone layer and got the chemicals in fridges changed, he was predicting climate change a long time ago, certainly in the 80s, I think, because he was going around the world measuring carbon dioxide levels and noticing they were rising. But he did, I believe, apologise because he kind of said that it would come in sort of 10 years or 5 years or whatever, and he did actually apologise about getting the timing wrong.
Right. And at that point, when a scientist says, "Oh, I got this wrong," or "My predictions were incorrect," we insist on utter, complete, and total accuracy. Otherwise, we just chuck all science out the window until, like I said, you need it. You know, these people that say, science isn't proven and blah, blah, blah. When they are in need of science, they will prostrate themselves in front of their doctor and do whatever that doctor says according to science.
I wish politicians would show as much humility as scientists have to. Inevitably, and scientists have to, because our understanding of science always improves. What people did 100 years ago has been improved upon.
Yeah. Which is one of the reasons why religion is less popular in this country, is because religion used to, still is, to a large extent, for a lot of people, the things that fill in the gaps in our scientific knowledge. I mean, it used to be that people thought that the sun was dragged across the sky by a god. And now we know, of course, it's magnets. It's magnets. Magnets are doing that.
But the Ice Age, the Earth will inevitably enter another ice age at some point, but the time scale is of the order of I think it's about between 50 and 100,000 years. But I think the current understanding is that what we're doing to the climate may well delay the ice age by several tens of thousands of years. So it will happen, but by the time we're around to enjoy it, by the time East Finchley is once again under, I'm not talking about Wembley, but I'm talking about East Finchley, because that's where the ice stopped.
East Finchley,
right? There was a program that referred to East Finchley as being the place where the ice in the last ice age. That's the farthest south it got in England before it started to melt again. And the last ice age ended about 10,000 years
there we go.
Right. Well, let's hope that next time around it manages to inch further down and crushes all those superior people in Hampstead. Fingers crossed. All right, Christoph, got to go. 0345 6060 973. Chris emails. Honestly, I wanted to say you made me laugh so hard, and I'm not right wing or left wing. I am middle wing. Middle wing. Middle wing. Huh. Well, that would be the body then, wouldn't it? This says, how many of those kids went abroad on their summer holidays? Probably most of them. 3 exclamation marks. One of those people. Oh, for crying out loud. One of those trolls that inhabits the Daily Mail comment section. I don't like this and I don't like that, and moan, 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 moan.
Stop whining.
One of these extremists that thinks that because people with beards who eat muesli in the morning, tree hugger types, because they are interested in saving the planet, then that's what they're against. They define themselves by what they don't believe in, rather than what they do believe in. Like a lot of religious people define themselves by what they don't like rather than what they do like, which seems to me the opposite of what religion is supposed to be all about. Openness and caring and loving, as opposed to closed-minded hatred. But, what do I know? That's my religious opinion, and it's just as good as yours. John says, one of Sean's first major roles was Darby O'Gill and the Little People. His Irish accent was not one of the best, says John Sligo. Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Not leprechauns. Well, maybe it is actually leprechauns. I don't believe a word of it. Declan says, Sean Connery had a brief non-speaking part in The Longest Day, as had Johnny Briggs, who starred in Coronation Street. The Longest Day. Maybe that was the thing where he was dressed as a policeman and he just directed somebody. You couldn't really see him, but you could hear his accent, so maybe he did have a speaking part. I don't know. Does anybody actually care?
No.
How did we get onto this anyway? All you need to know about Sean Connery is that he was not the best James Bond. And I think you'll find that is correct. 0345 6060 9. As long as I don't say anything controversial, eh? 0345 6060 973. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Here on LBC, Matt Fry, leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
I think he's portraying a quite stupefying ignorance.
Thanks, Boris. Declan says, Sean Connery had a brief non-speaking part in The Longest Day. I've read that. Jeremy says, Michael Caine also had a tiny bit. Really? I didn't know that. Oh, there's more. A tiny bit part in Dunkirk as the Spitfire squadron leader, but you only hear him on the intercom. He doesn't appear. What, he literally phoned it in? You mean Dunkirk, the recent film Dunkirk, which was superb, by the way. Very, very good film. Declan says, I actually have 2 brilliant paperbacks from Michael Caine, simply full of amazing random facts called Not a Lot of People Know That. Rubbish. There's no such books. I don't believe it. Poppy in Bromley says, can we have a revised weather forecast for Sunday morning as we have our very first boot fair to attend and an almost empty loft? Right, you're going to put all of your unmentionables out on your... I don't know where. Your driveway or in some car park somewhere? Well, Bromley. Okay, well, I'll give you the revised forecast for Bromley on Sunday. One moment, please. Just checking for you, caller. Well, if only it was tomorrow, then it would be absolutely perfect. 75 degrees and sunny all day long, not a cloud in the sky. Sunday, on the other hand... thundery showers.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It starts raining at 6 in the morning and continues until 8 at night. So, I expect you won't be selling very much. Oh, well, never mind. It's only life. Croyd, why did that disappear? Are you trying to direct me to a particular caller?
What's this?
Or did I just not do it right? I'll assume that it's my fault. Croydon. Hello, Mark.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, Mark. Great, mate.
Hi. We're talking about climate change.
We?
Hello?
Hello?
Everything just went a bit silent. I don't know. It might be the network of the phone.
Yeah. It's probably Russian interference.
It probably is. Like, I was just going to say climate change.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm a bit nervous, by the way.
Oh, me too.
I'm a bit scared. Like, but I'm concerned, and I'm glad that kids are doing this. Like, I think it's good, like, because it's their futures. Because I think soon enough they're going to start charging us the air.
If they could actually do that, they would have done it already.
It will happen soon enough.
I mean, they're charging us for water, so, if they could actually charge us for air, they would definitely do that.
You see, with all the news that's been happening lately, they've been talking about the UFOs in America and that. And I think if there was to be, like, extraterrestrials that was to try and take over our world, I think we would get over all of this division that we have in the world, and we will all fight together. Wouldn't that be brilliant?
Well, that's absolutely true. That is absolutely true. Correctamundo. If we all had a common enemy, then we would all get together to fight that enemy, and we would work in cooperation and tandem in perfect harmony, up until the point where we weren't in danger anymore, and then we'd start fighting amongst ourselves again.
Exactly. And it's a horrible world we live in. I'm scared for the future.
Well, that's people. That's people for you. We cooperate with each other to the point that we can eliminate common dangers. We don't leave the house and are concerned that we might get eaten by a lion, for instance, because we've solved that problem, and we don't have bears roaming about the town centre or any of those, or crocodiles or any of those things that might actually kill us. So we've cooperated enough to eliminate those those immediate present dangers, and once we are secure, then we start fighting amongst ourselves.
Also, I have a problem. I would like to make this known. I feel that too many people that have... I'm not saying I disagree with them. I understand they have these points, but there's certain people that even work on your radio station. And I feel that... I hope everybody really listens to this. When you're coming home from work, you've got the people that have they've got the literally, like, when everybody's coming home from work, they've had a bad day.
Yeah.
6 o'clock till 7 o'clock, and they're going to just spit into your mind, literally, something that's going to get you even more mad about the day.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, well, I'm not saying I ain't got a problem with Nick Ferrari, but I feel sometimes his views don't really...
chime with your own. Well, he's not a robot, Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, do you just want a mini-me? I mean, maybe you should get up in the morning and talk to yourself in the mirror. Then nary a cross word will be heard.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not saying that people are swayed by these type of things, and I'm not saying that they are the purpose of this, but I feel that certain people have platforms which can cause people's minds to, what can we say, get poisoned. Like, seriously, I feel that.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of this radio station. It is opinionated talk, an opinionated talk format, but there's all kinds of opinions. There's me. I mean, I do my little pony show here on.
I like to look at both opinions, and then.
I mean, you've got Nigel Farage on one end, and you've got James O'Brien on the other, and a rainbow of opinions in between. That's the beauty of this station.
I don't agree with everybody all
well,
of the
of course
time.
not, because you're a live thinking person.
But I feel that the people that are really causing the problem have too much exposure to the media.
Well, they shout the loudest.
What is getting people fired up.
Yes.
And really and truthfully, it's firing us up in the wrong
right.
way.
And it gets people to join certain parties.
We've got a few idiots in our party.
You know, mentioning no names. Okay, all right. Thanks a lot, Mark. Keep on keeping on. Remember that we have a podcast service. You can listen to any show anytime you blooming well like. You want to listen to this this super show first thing in the morning? It is possible. You can do it. And you can do it specifically. I might as well mention how. We've got an app. Download Global Player from your app store and you can listen to any show you like, anytime you like. You can listen to any of our stations. You can listen to Classic FM. You can listen to Anne-Marie Minhall which is my favourite show, doing requests. You want a request? Get her to play your Super Soar Away song. And you can listen to her anytime you like. You can listen to this show anytime you like. Global Player from your app store. Joan says, ask Boris. Optimism and believing enough will get us through surely. Let's see him put the fires in the Amazon, etc., with his upbeat faith in this country. Let's see him put out the fires, maybe. That's what you meant. Matt in Lewisham says, yes, but I recycle all that packaging, so what's wrong with that? It gets used again. I wonder how much litter they drop and damage to the environment the protesters caused. Did they clear it up after? No, thought not. That's not the first person that's wrote in with that. Oh, all those people moaning about the world. I bet they left rubbish on the ground, didn't they? Yes. I bet they didn't. I bet there was a smaller amount of rubbish left than a similar-sized crowd would leave. I don't know that that's true, but neither do you, Matt. But that's where I'd put my money. Take your rubbish home. We appreciate your cooperation.
Thank you. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Okie dokie.
Yeah, you know what increases anxiety? Stepping on a Lego brick in bare feet. James says, I'm going out trick-or-treating on October the 31st. Shall I dress up as Boris or Trump? I think the one would look exactly like the other. John in Twickenham says, not sure if you've heard, but Boris Johnson is about to make Great Britain England again. That's what will happen when Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales all vote for independence after Brexit. Let's make Great Britain England again. And Natalie says, agree with you about the fact that consumers have the power to affect change. The central problem is that the whole capitalist system is based on people buying things we don't need. That's true. If everyone only bought what they needed, the economy would collapse overnight. That's probably also true. This is enabled by such easy availability of credit, trapping people in a life of debt. Also true. We are so used to getting what we want immediately that it is going to be a hard habit to break. I can't see how gradual change is going to work to change things in time. Only a massive societal shock will do that, says Natalie. But I think gradual change would work in much the same way as gradually losing weight works, rather than, I suspect, going on a crash diet would cause your body to go, what the hell's going on here? I'm going to hold on to all of these calories, if you don't mind. Thank you very much. So I'm not sure I'll never get any more. But if you trick it into gradually changing, then I think that does work. And a gradual change may sort our entire way of life out. Because it is unsustainable. I mean, just look at the stupid fashion industry. Apart from anything else, it's utterly ridiculous, particularly fast fashion. All that, whatever you bought last week is now totally out of fashion. You must buy something else now, just to give yourself a little dopamine hit. It's just, it's ridiculous. But if we stop buying it now, then there'll be a lot of people thrown out of work, a lot of shops would close, and the economy would nosedive. But if we did it gradually, we slowly, lived a more sustainable life, then that would be better for future generations. But it might be too late for that. So I don't know what is the answer. Everybody needs to get in a time machine, go back to the 1950s, and think hard about what we're about to do. Wimbledon. Hello, Scott.
Hello. How are you tonight?
Good, thanks.
I have a bit of a radical idea that might actually help start solving some of these problems.
Great.
Okay, and it's all because of our chronic misuse of two very, very simple words, left and right.
Go on.
I think pretty much all of it comes down to the same mentality you have when you get football teams. We go by left and right, and so many people just do not seem to understand what right and left means, except beyond they are the opposite side from me.
Right.
And when you get down to things like climate change, medicine, police, all of that, when it isn't really a right or left issue, it's a kind of, can we just have a bit of common sense around the scientists, around what works issue? It's when you get that left-right division and people are just, okay, if it's a left solution, I don't like it because it's a left solution.
Yeah.
And my idea is take away the words, give everyone a questionnaire, and then we'll find out what side they're on.
Oh,
because I guarantee.
Wait a minute. Ask people what they think.
Oh, no.
A referendum, you mean?
No. I'm talking about just a simple questionnaire, 20 questions, you're given in school. I mean, I know
20?
Michael Gove doesn't like that.
Can you narrow it down to 10?
I think we can have that compromise, but Michael Gove doesn't like any sort of political education. So as long as, we can sneak it by him, I think we can get it there. But just ask a few simple questions like, do you mind NHS? Are you in favour of the NHS?
Do you mind the NHS?
Because that is a left issue. So many people on the right, who would consider themselves right wing, that right now means you would prefer a more capitalist model of NHS, more private model.
Well, you tell them, ask them if they like the concept of socialism in any of its forms, and the people on the right will say, hell no, that's bearded weirdo stuff, that is. But then ask them if they are interested in keeping the NHS and the police and the councils and all the rest of it. And they say, of course we are interested in all of those things, not realising that the two are in fact the same.
Indeed. We actually live in a social democracy.
Yeah.
The entire Europe is a social democracy.
Correct.
So we have a capitalist economy, which, again, is one of the more sort of workable methods, but we have a socialist democracy to offset how bad the capitalist economy can be.
Yes.
Such as 2008, 1929, pretty much every recession you've had, government's been there to bail people out, and we keep forgetting it when the good times are good, and then when the bad times are bad, it's,
the good times, I can't wait for them to appear. Wouldn't that be marvellous? Good times.
I haven't had one in my single working life, to be honest. Last 12 years, I sort of entered the workplace during the last recession, just sort of got myself back on my feet and sort of prepared to go out in the great blue yonder, and now I'm sort of facing down Brexit.
Well, maybe it's you, Scott.
Yeah, I think I am like the albatross around the ship of Great Britain.
So if you could just stop working for a while, that'd be great. All right, thanks a lot, mate.
Please.
0345 6060 973. We found the nub of the problem. He's the root. Ray the Cabbie says, I saw a great film yesterday on Talking Picture, the TV channel, I imagine. It was called The Fiddle, starring James Lynch and Sean Connery from 1961, about two RAF men in World War II. He gets up to all kinds of fiddles and scams. The next film he made after was his first James Bond film, says Ray the Cabbie. I think I should have said spoiler alert.
Warning!
Colin in East Titherley says, we could stop global warming tomorrow if we got rid of politicians. It's all due to the hot air that they spout. Yeah, wind power.
I know a lot about wind.
Yeah. Speaking of which, did anybody really talk about this Jacob Rees-Mogg thing that he tried to rewrite history about why he lounged about on those benches? Jacob Rees-Mogg has admitted that reclining on the front bench of the House of Commons during the key debate was a mistake.
Correct.
Yeah, no kidding. The leader of the House, if you can believe that, was sprawled across the benches with his arms folded. He said he adopted the supine position because he was restoring an ancient tradition where ministers rested their feet on the table. No, you weren't. He sprawled across the benches because his act dictates that he affects to be superior. And, like a naughty schoolboy looking for attention and approval from his classmates by seeing how much he can get away with in front of the teacher. And he should be punished like all naughty schoolboys before him. Just before the MPs voted on legislation to block a no-deal Brexit, Jacob Rees-Mogg took a break from the proceedings and slumped on the green benches. Well, it was a very rigid slump, wasn't it? But then you would expect him to be rigid even if he was unconscious. But according to the Times, he regrets the posture. He only regrets it because of the flack that he got. When asked if he thought it was acceptable, he replied, "In hindsight, I think not." Really? Do you need hindsight to figure that out? He went on to explain how historically ministers would rest their feet on the table. Yeah, and historically ministers would pee in the corner of a room and get their slaves to mop it up.
Disgusting.
Labour MP Carl Turner tweeted an image of the cabinet minister laid back on a bench, saying, "As a working-class bloke brought up in a council estate in Hull, I always feel enormous pride and gratitude when I go to the chamber of the House of Commons to represent East Hull. I've never felt a sense of entitlement. This is what that looks like." Anna Turley, his party colleague, said, "The physical embodiment of arrogance, entitlement, disrespect and contempt for our Parliament." SNP MP Gavin Newlands tweeted, "Jacob Rees-Mogg is literally going for a UKIP on the front bench. I just asked him if I could call his footman to get him a pillow. He politely declined." But he would have liked that. He would have liked that. Because being superior comes with being born into wealth and privilege and being gifted the kind of life that 99.9% of us can only imagine. And that life reinforces the feeling that one is superior to those that did not take the precaution of being born to parents well off enough to send their son to Eton and furnish him with a nanny, if you please. And we're following that guy. Poor people are doffing their cap to the accent and the supercilious mien, just like we used to do in the good old days when we plebs knew our place and were in awe of the ruling class. 0345 6060 973. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
I am not one of your fans!
North Fulham, hello Martin.
Yeah, just a couple of small things before you might be changing topic for the final straight. I have come across one of this Michael Caine book, and not a lot of people know that. I think all the profits went to charity. I don't know how much the hard work he did himself. And then on the other topic of this evening, when I had a year's subscription to New Scientist magazine, I think it's either 73 or 74, the expression global warming was just put in there. It wasn't ever suggested it was controversial or anything. And I think it actually been postulated as about even up to 10 years before then.
Huh.
So so if you look into the internet and see whether when the earliest time anyone used the phrase, and maybe actually might even tell you. Then of course you get a Wikipedia that tells you about 80 different paragraphs of different academics who have bandied about the word. But
yes.
Maybe no one actually had time, money to actually investigate, sort of do some research, and say, well, is this going to affect the climate?
But you're old enough to remember back in about that time, people were saying it's going to get colder.
No, I never. No, that is something I don't ever come across ever. No.
Huh.
But the thing about also actually then of course a related matter. Of course, one of your earlier callers mentions about how I think the main chunk of the British Isles is tilting because of the bounce back. And so of course obviously that means that London, I think, because the axis of the tilt goes from the Fens, roughly speaking diagonally, down to the south coast of England. That means of course then London included is going to be slowly going, I think, dropping quarter of an inch. Oh no, the south coast of Kent is dropping quarter of an inch a year. And so, of course, maybe that means the Thames Valley, therefore, is dropping. That means there'll be more flooding unless we build more and more flood walls.
Right, well, they'll have to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Or we'll just have to say bye-bye to London.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, thanks a lot, Martin. Talk about rapid fire. Try decaffeinated coffee. Will says, I was on climate strike today. Yes, Lefty, sorry. What? Are you saying that you're Lefty and you're apologising for it? Anyway, we'll find out. Just read on. Stupid. He says, I was on a climate strike today. Yes, Lefty, sorry. And the final part of the event was an hour's litter picking. The city of Wells was cleaner afterwards than before. These people had gathered due to their love of the planet. Why would they litter? Nonsense, says Will. The amount of people that have emailed with no information of any kind saying, oh, I bet those people who were marching today, all those young people, blooming young people, I bet they left litter all over. Yes. They didn't read that in the paper and they didn't see it on TV. They have got no knowledge of any kind whatsoever. They just assume the worst because it fits into their little worldview. That anybody that says anything remotely kind or caring or considerate or polite is to be put down. You know, literally and figuratively. Kill 'em all. Yes. Hilary in Weymouth says, Jacob Rees-Mogg looks etiolated. 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 He does. He looks like a swizzle stick. You'd expect his head to be stuck in an olive. I could do with a couple of pints of martini right now, as a matter of fact. Who's with me? Etiolated, says Hilary in Weymouth, as if he was grown in a dark room, like a mushroom. Yeah, that's right. Nigel in Ealing says the policeman at the end of the day of the Earthcourt fire was Michael Caine. And a lot of people know that. Here is a fellow called... is your name Chewbacca?
Chewbacca, yeah.
Right.
Nick.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for taking my call.
Well, thanks for making your call.
Thanks for taking my call.
Well, I appreciate you making your call.
You're my favorite. I like your program, definitely.
Thanks.
I do. Yeah. What I want to say is, I think now we need to teach our young children, to participate, planting more trees and how they can contribute to help our environment. Like, planting trees, and then teach them at school, make this as a curriculum at school,
Tree planting?
Yeah, for our children. Rather than, maybe going out to be... They can demonstrate, but if they teach them how to do agriculture and how to contribute to their environment, I think that would be very good. They should try and introduce this at school. I think that would be much, much better.
Right. But tree planting?
Yeah.
Or just generally conserving the planet that we're all living on? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think, aren't they doing exactly that? I mean, where are they getting all this information? I suppose the internet, isn't it? Blooming internet.
Yeah. So I think that would be very good because previously I used to see that there's a charity around East London. I used to participate. When they are doing this, they come to plant trees in the park. So I used to join them and just help them to be watering the trees, which is good.
Yeah.
So I think this is what we have to introduce.
Right. So we've got them to thank for our parks being infested with trees.
Yeah, to be planting trees and then trying to teach them how to recycle and all these things.
Yeah, recycling trees. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I completely agree with you. You're totally correct in every respect. Thanks a lot, Chewbacca. 0345 6060 973. They should teach, and I say this as somebody who has absolutely no idea what they teach the kids in school these days, but what they should be teaching them is exactly this. Conservation. How to live a life in balance, as opposed to a life, a lifestyle out of balance, or, as the Hopi Indians said, Koyaanisqatsi, my favourite film. Koyanisqatsi.
Correct.
Hey, I bet I did get that right. This says Boris went to hospital the other day to get his future removed. To get his future removed. Yeah, he got yelled at. Quite right too. And then various right-wing newspapers became all revisionist. Oh, it's not. If only the Labour Party hadn't been in power these last 10 years, then the NHS would be in a marvellous state. But it's that bearded Beelzebub's fault. What has he been doing since he became Prime Minister? Oh, no, that's right. It's the Tories that have been in power for the last 10 years. And still they're complaining that it's got nothing to do with them. Taxation is theft tweets. No, that's ages old, that is, that message. I've done that ages ago. Steve says, I may have missed something, but I don't remember all this fuss about CO1. Bring on CO3. Yeah, quite right too. We've been stuck with CO2 for, it just seems like ages. I mean, it's definitely due a reboot. Let's have Durham. Hello, Robert.
Hello.
Robert.
Hello. Good evening, Nick.
Good evening.
Well, I'd just like to say that I'm one of the old grammar school, the ancient grammar school. I left in 1969, and my geography teacher, my GCSE geography teacher, he was always on about the cycles of nature and this and that. Mm-hmm. While we were all sat at the back of the room on our mobile phones, I believe. No, we weren't.
No, you weren't. You were staring out the window, thinking of football
of 11
or anything
years,
else.
Where the ionosphere went up and down.
Yeah.
And he did say, he was always on about, we're at the end of this warm cycle, and that there was going to be a new ice age. We're at the dawn of a new ice age.
Yeah, I remember that too.
So you're perfectly correct.
Totally right, yes.
So that's just one thing I'd like to see. I'd also like to wonder about the psychology. Nobody really goes into the psychology of a Brexiteer. It's all about, I would think it's about slavery, really, isn't it?
Is it?
Well, if you were say a slave on a Roman ship or down a copper mine, say in Cumbria, a Roman slave, all the slaves of history. Well, what's the first thing that comes into their mind that they're always pursuing?
What's the first thing?
Yes, the most important thing that they're pursuing.
Is this a test now?
No, it's freedom, isn't it? Freedom.
Yeah, that's what I would have said.
They want to be free. They don't care about whether they get another job after.
I didn't want to say it out loud in case I was wrong. You know.
Or how much money they're going to make after. The first thing they want is freedom.
Yeah,
so
freedom.
I think mainly the psychology of all sort of our age
group, freedom.
They feel enslaved.
Yeah. Well,
they
slaves
feel enslaved in a European Union, and so they want freedom.
That slaves do feel enslaved. Yeah, it's part of the job.
Do you not feel this is a major part of the criteria of Brexit?
What, that they feel like slaves?
Union.
Well, if they do, how toweringly asinine is that?
Well, I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong.
Then I will. It's wrong. It is wrong to feel that the EU is enslaving you. And it's not only wrong, but it's stupid.
It may be, but I think that is a big part of the mindset.
Right.
Well,
then we should listen to people who think that less.
You did say earlier, Nick, that you should probably get all the left-wingers behind one wall and the right-wingers behind another.
Yes.
And then after a while you'd see which would be the happiest. Which side would you say would be the happiest?
I'd say that the side that is concerned about each other would be the happiest, rather than the side that is only concerned about themselves.
Right. I'm just wondering, because in my day, I mean, the 60s and 70s were mainly sort of the big Russian Vlad and Ivan the Impaler.
Yeah, not Vlad.
And they tried to do this by building a wall and keeping all their people behind it to make them happy.
Mm-hmm.
But when the wall came down, all the national flags came out. The people were extremely happy because they felt they'd got their freedom. They felt enslaved behind the Russian.
Well, the West
wire.
didn't feel that. The people on the East felt that.
Yes. So that was their mindset. They're really happy to be out of that system, and I think it's the same for a Brexiteer. I think they think of the Russian idea of being enslaved behind a wall in a European Union which is governed by the gulags and terror, and well, it was in the Russian day, wasn't it? The Russians were always fearful of that, and we feel that it was a similar system. The European Union is just keeping us all in this.
Right. Just to be clear, these aren't your opinions. You're saying that this is what other people think.
I'm probably thinking that this is the main psychology of a lot of people who will vote
but
Brexit.
not you though. Just to be clear.
But sorry?
But you don't think this. You think that other people think this.
Yes.
Right.
I think
Okay.
other people
I
think
just
that,
wanted to make that absolutely clear, just so I'd be able to sleep at night. All right. Thanks a lot, Robert. Speaking as somebody who did psychology at university, just the very idea of doing psychology.
Boring.
Oh, do you mind if I don't? 0345 6060 973. Oh, well, look, it's 12:30. The news headlines on LBC with Zora Sullivan.
The Pentagon. Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Words, more words.
Josh says climate change is very bad. It will destroy planet Earth very soon. But capitalism doesn't really care about that, so we're all going to hell in a handcart. Not to be depressing on a Friday night, he says. Josh, this is you not being depressing. This says, Nick, it seems it's not the young people that need educating in conservationism. Generally, it's the elder generations who are opposed to making changes towards a sustainable future. Getting back into schools, planting trees with Chewbacca. I'm pretty sure I didn't pronounce that right, but that's what it looked like. Chewbacca. We got a call from. James texts, Abbot. All these ultra-trendy, ultra-liberal, ultra-progressive art galleries that you and your producer visit every week, do they all have ultra-green and trendy LED lighting? What the hell are you talking about? You visit art galleries? You visit art galleries?
Who's this?
You are accused of visiting art galleries, you ultra-liberal trendy. Can't hear a blooming word I'm saying. That's how trendy he is. He's working on this show and he's not even listening to it. Phil in Burton-on-Trent says, thank you for being a bastion. I am not. Oh, a bastion against the right-wing madness that is currently screwing everything up. Really, really appreciate your show, he says.
Thank you.
Mark says the reason why the whole climate change movement is so important is that we have to leave the planet in a good state for Keith Richards. You know, when the end of time comes and the only thing that survives on this planet is ants and ivy, Keith Richards is still going to be there. He'll have a bottle of whiskey in one hand and a fag in the other. I can't get that. I can't get that low. That laugh he does. I can't do it. It's beyond my ability. Sheila says, good evening, Nick. I think the best thing for the UK would be if David Attenborough is made our Prime Minister. Get David Attenborough on the phone. He's asleep. Wake him up. Cornwall. Hello, Catherine.
Oh, hello. Okay, I'm quite nervous, so I'm going to try and say this as best of a point as I want to make it.
Okay.
It's a twofold thing, really.
Number one.
I think talking about climate change and Brexit are much of the same muchness. I think it's quite tribal, so people aren't willing to really move on their view.
Yeah.
So either people are like there for the planet or they're not, and the same, they're either a Brexiteer or they're not. And actually, like, I always use this phrase with the people that I work with. They don't make things like they used to, i.e. like fridges. They used to last forever, And now a lot of the stuff that are made for a short term.
Yes. Well, they make
encouraged-
it's not that they make it. They don't make them as well as they used to. They deliberately make them so you can't fix them. You used to be able to unscrew a toaster and look in the inside of it. Now it's soldered together, and you can't open it without breaking it.
Exactly. So that point that Josh made about how old people are like the caller or the text that you had before, that it was about old people. I disagree. Actually, all the older people I know, they hold on to their items, they look after them, they nurture them.
Well, that's not through. It's not because they're ecologically minded. It's because it's because they're tight.
That's their mindset.
Yeah.
They bought something and they're going to last the test of time.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they did it with the view of being like for the environment.
For saving the planet, they did it with the view for saving money.
They bought something
Yeah.
and they're going to last.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, because it just seemed outrageous to throw something away that could be mended, whereas these days it's the other way around. You want to mend it? What do you want to do that for? Just get a new one.
I used to work in a commercial environment where we used commercial fridges. All the old fridges, they lasted forever. Whenever we ever replaced them, it was always, I can't think of the name, right, what now, broke, but it was always the same component, and it was always cheaper to replace the fridge than fix the fridge, and I think that's quite interesting. And it's like as much the same as with cleaning, like you have wet wipes where they're made of plastic, which we know now via documentaries, etc., whereas actually we are encouraged to use components that are not like that. We can't recycle them.
Yes.
We can't degrade them.
Exactly. We're encouraged to keep buying the same thing over and over again, rather than buying it once, which doesn't improve profitability of the company that makes it.
Exactly. Everything.
And fashion is the absolute worst about this issue.
It's horrendous. It's actually horrendous.
I mean, the fashion industry is about the most polluting on earth outside of the fossil fuel industry.
The first is meat. The second is fashion.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what about fossil fuels? I mean, that's got to be more polluting, surely. We're getting coal and oil out of the ground. That must be.
Methane gas.
Yeah.
No, methane gas, and then it's fast fashion.
Right.
And furthermore, of all the water.
Well, I hope you're listening to this, Kate Moss.
Furthermore than all the water, like let's even put aside the pollution that they use, the water it takes to even make an item,
cotton.
That they make it disposable fashion.
Yeah.
They make it that there's no even quality to keeping it.
Yes. Now, are you guilty of buying fast fashion, Catherine? I bet you are.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. So this is my point. This is where we're tribal, okay? So everybody, for example, okay, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle taking their private jets, yada, 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 okay, they are perceived to be virtual signalling. Like, how dare you tell us how to live when you are living like you are?
Yes.
But we are exactly the same.
Well, not quite.
No. I mean...
We don't live our lives on the grand scale of the royal family.
No. But I mean, relatively speaking.
Yeah, even relatively speaking, but they're still way out in front. If they could just curtail themselves and live the lifestyle that everybody else does, then I don't know. We might have a chance of actually breathing oxygen for 50 years from now.
No, but we all want to be better, me included. By the way, I am the worst of them all. Like I want.
You are. Why am I even talking to you, Catherine? The worst of them all.
No, but I have made changes, but they're minute.
Oh, what changes? What changes have you made? Enumerate your changes.
Okay, I don't mind. I don't buy any more wipes at all. I only use kitchen towel. I don't know if that's good enough.
Well, that's a start, right? No wipes, just a reusable, washable kitchen towel. Yes.
I've gone from a diesel car to a fuel car, and I will be going hybrid. Okay, no.
Well, that's small steps, Catherine. You're diesel to petrol to hybrid and then to battery. Why don't you just skip straight to battery?
But can I also give you a pushback? Okay, recycling.
Yes.
I recycle everything. I put it all into in Cornwall, in my particular town, which is Truro. there are four different like categories.
Bins,
and
yeah,
stuff.
four different bins. And you know what the council does? I don't know if this is true, but I would imagine.
They
yes,
ship it off. They ship it off.
They put it in a big hole in the ground in China.
So all they're doing is they're just helping me create a better mindset, thinking that I'm doing something good, when in actual fact, in the bigger picture, nothing good is happening at all.
Correct.
And
You know what's better than recycling? Not using the stuff in the first place.
I concur, but I can't help in the packaging.
You concur?
In the way things arrive.
Get you with your fancy way of saying agree.
Yeah, but my point being is that actually, and by the way, we're all responsible. But what I am
well, now wait a minute. Don't tar me with the same brush that you tar yourself with. I'm not responsible.
So
I don't do fast fashion. That's you. That is.
Okay, so tell me about yourself? How do you recycle differently to me then? How are you making a point of difference?
Well, I don't walk into shops and buy a dress, for instance. I have never walked into a shop and bought a dress that I have subsequently not worn, Catherine. There you are.
Perhaps not a dress, but you have worn an item of clothing, right?
Yes. But okay. I don't buy fast fashion because, well, for two reasons. First, I'm just not interested in buying fast fashion, and second, just going to a store and trying clothes on. Oh, do I have to?
What about when you walk in Marks and Spencer?
Yes,
is a higher echelon of where we buy food.
Higher echelon.
Yes. So we walk into Marks and Spencer, we walk to Waitrose.
Yes.
The better of in terms of quality and all that malarkey.
And
where are they pressurising to make the difference in how things are?
Well, I think they are pressurising to make the difference. I mean, if you mention those two supermarkets, I think they are at the forefront of reducing packaging and placing food in.
They're trialling at several outlets in London.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not. No, but
well, that's at the forefront. If they're the ones that are trialling plastic free, then that puts them at the forefront. But they can't leap ahead of their customers, because their customers will say, "What the hell's this? I like my my apples on a polystyrene tray wrapped in plastic with a paper label on the front, and I'll be damned if I buy them where just in an open tub where people have touched them with their hands."
Disgusting.
So, small steps, Catherine. But anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I've got to go. Mostly because I've just got to go. This says, hot water is lighter than cold water, but I still get wet in the shower. That must refer to pretty much the first call that I had just after 10 o'clock, wasn't it?
Who was that?
That was the fellow that was saying that the whole thing about global warming is untrue because CO2 is heavy.
Oh,
and doesn't go upstairs to the atmosphere.
It was.
Yeah, you'd had to have heard the first call on the show. Maybe I'll stick it on a future podcast, which is cue for me to tell you about my podcast. It's called The Nick Abbott Habit. You can point your computer at it and ask for it by name, The Nick Abbott Habit. It's also available on our app, the Global Player app, which you can download from the App Store. Global Player from the App Store. It's got loads of podcasts on there, amongst which is mine. Ask for it by name, The Nick Abbott Habit.
LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
We're running late.
This says, "Oi, Abbott, what's the Carol podcast latest? We want answers." Well, the latest is that it's all ready to go, apart from the artwork. And the artwork department don't respond to my emails. They're ignoring me. So I don't know is the answer to that. I've got no idea. Everybody seems to be blooming well ignoring me. Not that I'm upset about it or anything. This says, JRM went into the butcher's and said, "I'd like to buy some bacon, please." The butcher said, "Lean back." And JRM leant back and said, I'd like to buy some bacon, please. Oh, for crying out loud. Listeners with material.
Oh, no.
This says, morning, Nick. Can you, or do you know if Can you, or do you know if, thank to stupid Sadiq, there are no buses or cars in London on Sunday, thanks to cleaning up the environment for a day, then Monday and the rest of the year, the air will continue to be toxic? Is there a thing this Sunday?
Car-free day, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Whereabouts? Regent Street.
London-wide, I think.
Rubbish.
It is.
It's not.
It is.
London-wide?
Allegedly.
Car-free day over the whole of London?
No, you're encouraged to go car-free.
Oh, right.
That's
So,
what I meant.
right. So everybody's going to ignore it and then come in by car, as usual. Thanks a lot, you mayor. This says, I went to Folkestone on your recommendation. So disappointed, I want my money back. What? Contemplating going to Florence again on your recommendation. However, I'm scared. I could be disappointed again. I like London today with all the protesters. Certainly focuses the mind. How can you go to Folkestone and not like it? I was in Folkestone yesterday. It was great. You can get there in about 50 minutes on the fast train from St Pancras, which you have to pay extra for, by the way. If you want to get there half an hour more quickly, you've got to pay extra to go on the fast train than if you go on the train that stops hither, thither and yon. Which should be the other way around. I mean, it must cost more in juice to get a train to stop-start rather than just hit a speed and carry on. Because then it just becomes, self... whatever the word is. Science. Science?
No.
Yeah, science. Science says that it is more cheap, or in fact cheaper, to just hit a speed and carry on, rather than stop-start all the time. So, in fact, the fast train should be cheaper than the slow train. So what's that about? I thought Folkestone was great. What's not to like about Folkestone? I had one of the best meals of my entire life yesterday. It was in a Spanish place on the Harbour Arm. I don't want to mention it by name because that might sound like advertising, but it was called Pick Up Pink Chos or Pink Sauce or however you pronounce that. They didn't have anything on the menu. I said, I'll have this and this and this, followed by that and that and that. They said, oh, no, we haven't got any of that. We've got like 3 things. And so I said, all right, then I'll have those 3 things. It was one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. How can you not like Folkestone? Let's have Bloomsbury. Sophia.
Good morning, Nick.
Yes, Sophia.
I'm glad you're well, or you will be.
I'm glad I'm well.
I'm glad.
I'm glad. I'm gladder.
As long as we've still got atmosphere for us all to breathe.
Yeah.
I always say every day, if you want a planet, you just put the E into plant, and then you might have one. Nevertheless,
You say that every day?
I do.
Don't you get tired of hearing it?
No, I get a little bit tired of it, but not really tired of it.
Not enough to complain.
Indeed, I'm not a complainer. But the sun is cooling, so...
The sun is cooling?
Yes.
Yeah, I seriously doubt that.
Oh, well, anyway. But if you get the balance wrong, you're going to get O3.
You'll fall over.
And you get poisoned. And it's all because of the bees. We mustn't lose the bees.
Brexit?
With the insecticides.
Oh, those bees.
Yeah, yes, be good, be nice, be happy. Buzz, buzz, buzz. But if you want a better kind of people, you can always download my novel, Nuclear Man.
Yeah, or not.
Sophia Snaith from Amazon.
Yeah, probably not, no.
But probably not. But anyway,
definitely not going to do that, ever.
If the Ice Age is coming back, we might get mammoths back again. And just imagine how...
Mammoths?
Yes.
Yeah, I bet they taste a bit like chicken.
I think they'll be pretty tough. I wouldn't recommend a knife and fork in any way.
Well, you'd have to kill one first, yeah.
Yes, and I don't think you can do that at all.
Being as they don't exist.
They did once.
Well, they did.
The archaeologists have excavated them, particularly in Alaska, with the global warming, and they found mammoths.
I've got one in the back of my fridge. Yeah.
But I miss the lilac. I definitely miss the lilac.
What's the lilac? Where does that come in?
I
shouldn't have asked, really, should I? Dangers you might tell me.
In Camley Street National Park. I always drive up there in the summer to see the lilac. There is some nearer to home, but this is better. I think it's because of the
You prefer
internet.
the lilac that's further away because of the internet. Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm glad we agree there, because the internet is just...
Yeah, that whole lilac issue on the internet is just drives me up the wall, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same as old-fashioned...
Well, no, nothing is.
No, take up a whole room.
Take up this whole show just thinking about it, yeah.
Yeah, we used to meet everybody with the tapes going around, and people don't know why. I always like to have tapes going around.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
It does indeed, yes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sophia. 0345 6060 973. Simon says, I saw Simon Calder, the travel writer, in Folkestone a couple of weekends ago. Folkestone's cool. Well, yes, it is, but it has nothing to do with Simon Calder being there. But maybe you weren't making that point. It's like, I have two issues. One is that Simon Calder was in Folkestone, and another completely unrelated issue is that Folkestone is cool. And yes, it is. I am British tweets. This is just pathetic. We need to adopt birth control because the planet can't cope with the numbers. It's really that simple. Meanwhile, the virtue signallers have left Hyde Park in a right old state, heed the world, but trash the environment. And that came in, I think that, I read that, but didn't read it out loud. Right from the beginning of the show. That was one of those people that just thinks that the people who were on the environmental march trashed the area that they were in. They just assumed that was the case. They wanted something to complain about. Something to make their points moot. Kensington. Hello, Jennifer. Jennifer. Yes, Jennifer.
You're on my landline, so it's nice and clear.
Coming through clear as a bell.
Tell you quickly about Car Free Day on Sunday.
Yeah.
I knew about it a month ago because I cut it out from the Metro. It's organised by the Mayor, and it covers the square mile of City, Tower Bridge, London Bridge, and it's going to be on from 10:30am until 5pm.
On Sunday?
On Sunday.
Why, that's rubbish. I mean, there's no cars in the City of London on a Sunday anyway. It's dead. There's nobody there.
I know, it's ridiculous.
You might as well call a car-free day for the middle of the channel.
And it's just for the one day. I mean, they have it every year, but this year it's apparently the biggest. And there's lots of different things going on at Tower Bridge, London Bridge, and all the other bridges.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Actually, this weekend is Open Sesame Day. What do they call it? Open
weekend.
Open House.
Yeah, open house.
Yeah, so that coincides. I bet there'll be a lot of people mooching about the square mile looking for buildings to queue up for 3 hours to go and see a lobby or somebody's office. I've done that, and I think I'm over that now. I just can't be bothered anymore.
Anyway, it said roads in the City of London, some roads in Southwark, including Tooley Street.
Tooley Street.
Will be closed from 7am and won't open until 7pm in the evening.
Right.
So, and Boris bikes will be free all day.
Huh.
So that's something good if you like cycling.
Yeah.
There'll be lots of things for families and children and adults.
Ugh, children.
Lots of crafts.
I mean, I'm not keen on adults either, but children, that's just beyond the pale. And there'll be fun for all the family. It sounds like an excellent reason to stay in. All right, thanks a lot, Jennifer. I've got to go. Hey, whatever happens between now and 10 o'clock this evening, it just boggles my mind even contemplating it. But whatever it is, we'll chew it up and we'll spit it out then, eh? If you stick around, I think that Steve Allen will set you straight at 5. But right now it's Matt Stadler.
Nick, I'm very curious to find out whether you've been out demonstrating.
Demonstrating what?
Demonstrating for the future of our planet.
Oh, that. Yes, no.
No. Did you know, on the other hand, that there is a spotted zebra that is at large in the Masai Mara? It's not striped, it's spotted.
Is this a joke?
No, this is true.
Am I being spoken to by a Christmas cracker?
No, you can look it up. Did you also know
I will
that
not look it up.
Labour is about to commit an act of terrible self-sabotage by getting rid of the Deputy Leader's office?
Yeah, I doubt that that's going to happen.
I think it might.
I think it won't.
I think it might.
Well, I don't think it might. So, I win.